Hello everybody and welcome to, I think this is week 11 of lifespan development. Now this week we're going to be focusing on middle adulthood, and on this slide I'm going to be answering some of your questions from last week in your 3-2-1s, starting as ever with class questions. So the first question is, are we going to be graded on our lifespan case study drafts? So you receive a grade on your draft for turning it in, but I do not grade the content of your draft. So you just get a couple of points on your grade for turning it in. What are we discussing in the meetings next week? We are discussing your draft. So basically you turn in a draft and then I go through and I comment on it and I fix things and I go through it and I look at your arguments and your writing and I fix it. And then we're going to chat about it so that you can understand where you need to make improvements and where you don't. Basically, I am helping you build a better paper so that you can be successful in this class. So we're going to be chatting about your structure, your English usage, as well as the psychology, where you can bring in different theories, where maybe a theory doesn't fit or does fit, where you got something just a little bit wrong, that kind of thing. So really, I'm just helping you build a better paper. Is the draft meeting over Zoom? Yes. So about 24 hours, between 24 and 48 hours before your meeting, you will get an email from me with a Zoom link in it and a reminder of the actual time. And you just click it and you will be brought to our meeting. If you don't have an email from me a couple of hours before the meeting, be sure to email me because it's quite possible that something weird happened with my scheduling. So just email me and make sure that I didn't just completely screw up my schedule. But yes. Is the final exam the same format as the midterm? Yes, it is. Do I need to define every theory and definition before I talk about it in reference to my subject? Yes. So if you are going to use a theory, you need to first introduce the theory. Say, this is Erikson. I'm using Erikson's psychosocial theory. This theory is structured in 8 stages spanning the entire person's entire lifetime. At each point in their life, they're expected to be going through a specific crisis stage. So, for example, during infancy, you're going through trust or mistrust. Can I trust the world? And then you talk about that person's experience with the stage trust versus mistrust and whether or not you think they passed or failed based on the evidence in the biography that you read. So yes, you need to introduce the theories and discuss their structure and kind of what they're trying to explain before you use the theory itself. Okay, now we're going to talk about content questions, starting with, in your opinion, which love is the best to receive from others and which one is the worst to receive from others? So I think the best love to receive is consummate love in Sternberg's theory. So remember, this is emotional intimacy, passion, and commitment all in one. That creates consummate love. I think probably the worst one for me would either be empty love or fatuous love. So empty love is where there is only commitment. There's no emotional intimacy, there's no emotional connection, and there's no passion, there's no romance in it. And then fatuous love is where there is no commitment and there is no intimacy. So again, there's no emotion and there's no commitment, but there is passion. So it can verge on obsession. A lot of fatuous love can be thought of really well as little girls who are in love with Justin Bieber or whoever is whatever boy pop star is most popular right now. That is fatuous love. It's an obsession. There's no commitment. There's no emotional intimacy. It's just, oh my God, you're the most beautiful thing in the world. That's really not my thing. Does the book at any point go further into detail about the effects of infertility or inability to have children? So we're going to be covering it a little bit in this week, but not as much as you think. We're really talking about as fertility moves on, and a little bit about infertility, but not so much the social effects thereof. What did you want to be when you were little and during college and before this job? So I wanted to, when I was in kindergarten, according to my mother, I wanted to be a scientist and a ballerina. I'm not a ballerina, but I am a scientist, so I got there, kind of. As I was entering high school, I wanted to be a librarian, and I pursued that. I am a librarian. I pursued that through high school and in college, and I have a master's degree in information science. I'm a licensed public librarian here in the state of New York, and eventually I would like to go back to being a librarian because that's really what I enjoy doing. I enjoy finding information and helping people to access that information, and it's what I'm really good at. So this job is what I do to pay the bills. I mean, I love teaching you all because it's some of the best aspects of librarianship in terms of helping people access information and learn. So that's really nice, but I prefer doing it in more of a library situation where it's something that somebody's innately interested in. You don't go to a librarian to ask a question unless you want to know the answer. And so I like that. I like hearing about people's passions and interests and helping them to pursue those. So that is what I plan on doing eventually when I finish my PhD. Do you believe that there is a thing of people having a proper balance within their career and family? Yes, I think it is entirely possible. Both of my parents had a good balance of work versus family life. I do not, because I work from home and I am a graduate assistant, and no, do as I say, not as I do. Don't do what I do. I work 80 hours a week and I have no life anymore. But it is possible to have a good work-life balance, as evidenced by both of my parents who did it. How do individuals really know when they're in love? When there's that intimacy and that passion and the commitment, that you need all three. So you need to have that emotional connection, which is what intimacy really is. It's this trust in another person, that this mutual emotional support and connection. And you need the passion, you need the romance side of things. You need to have that aspect of your life, but you also need commitment. You need to know and trust that you're going to be there for that person and that they're going to be there for you. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're married, but you need that commitment that, yes, you are my person. That's really important. So that is it for the questions. And then on the next slide, we're going to be going over the homework questions.